This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Hi, this is Judith Briles, and I thought today would be a perfect time to really focus on something that most authors do extraordinarily poorly. And what I'm talking about is really the pitching yourself. And there's a variety of little tips that you can look at and tricks to the trade. And they talk about the elevator pitch. But when it comes to your book, your marketing, your promoting, you're reaching out, you're connecting with possible producers, whether it's TV, whether it's radio, whether it's reporter, you gotta have your pitch down. Ideally, you want to get to 30 seconds, but that's the good. Better is reducing it. Best is to get it down to around 15 seconds. So what you need to do is really understand the importance of what this is all about. And with the way people listen, the way they communicate, we're on nanoseconds at times, we're on little bits and bytes. It seems that with the era of technology that the attention span has been so reduced that you've got to get it across very succinctly, very concisely, and really using snappy, sassy, and sometimes my-salty words to get an attention of someone who's got the capability of carrying you, your brand, your book, your message, your expertise forward. So that's what we're looking at today. And that's just going to be, you're just with me. This is something that when I am at a workshop and when I do my annual event, Judith Briles Unplugged, which I would love all of you to come to. It's going to be June 23rd to the 25th here in Denver. And if you just go to thebookshepherd.com and look at the events, you'll have all the details. But it's a module that we work through because I do interactive exercises as you start working and drilling down. But the importance is you've got to get this so it's tight, so they understand what you and your book about. And a lot of times, and I would say it's the great majority, when I meet someone new and I'll say, well, tell me about you, tell me about your work, tell me about your book. They hem, they haw. You kept thinking, I could start writing my next book listening to what is going on. And it's phenomenally important. I can't stress this, to get yourself down so you can really do the hook. You can toss out your hook. Can you snag them and then start reeling them in? And by the time we were finished today, that I'm going to give you 3 magic words that this is what you want to evoke every time someone asks you about what you do, what your expertise is, what your book is about. And as soon as you start evoking that, or they're thinking that, you've got the home run on your plate. So let's just kind of look at that. And if you exercise, this is what I'm going to want you to do. Next time you're with someone, and I want you to ask them to tell you about their book, and then I just want you to listen. And here's what you want to be tuned into, because you're going to be turning the mirror on yourself to bring this about, to then do a really kind of a 180, not a total 360, but a 180 to flip it so you can see how you respond. So you want to be aware of any common words that they're using. Is it, are they talking about their pets? Or are they talking about their romance? Or are they talking about monies? Are they adding in ums and ahs and like and Are they using any cliches that just seem, the same old, same old? I know when I do editing and working on books, I'm going out to do slashing of those kind of things because I don't want it to sound trite. I don't want my author's writing to sound trite. And you don't want the words to come out of your mouth to sound that way as well. Next, I want you to notice what kind of presentation style do they use. Are they speedy? Do they just kind of let it all come out? Are they very casual? Do they wander off? Do they get disjointed? How does it make it feel? You feel when they're speaking. And then, is their message concise? Do they get to the point? Or are they just all over the place, that wandering? And then practice yourself. And you really work through those pitches as you have them. And when you can do this with another person, and this is where I love the practicing going on, you'll pair up and you take turns practicing until you can get it in place. And once you have this, memorize it. And so that when anyone asks you, you can just let it come out. But of course, you don't want to make it sound like it's canned, but you do want to practice it so you know what it is that you're doing. So that's where you start and get it going. Now, remember, when you're pitching, it can be about the role you have as the author. It can be about your book. It can be about your consulting, certainly your expertise. I'm a huge, huge believer that you all ID what your expertise is. It doesn't matter if you're fiction or nonfiction. You have expertise. For my fiction listeners, that you do such intense, deep diving research on putting together most of your books that you become an expert in a variety of areas. Often I have used the example during 9/11 when Tom Clancy was all over the media talking about terrorism. Now, he's a fiction author. He was a fiction author, but that's what he learned. He studied, he researched. You do the same thing, and it could be geography, it could be techniques, it could be strategy, it could be technology, who knows? But what's the expertise that you use to write your novels around? For my nonfiction listeners, you've got it. Whatever your book's about, you're labeling your expertise. And for heaven's sakes, make sure that your social media profiles reflect that and show that in there. So you tie it into it. So when someone introduces you, you can, be something like, hello, my name is, you could say, well, I'm Judith Briles. Hello, my name is, my latest book is How to Avoid 101 Book Publishing Blunders, Bloopers, and Boo-Boos. I help authors to stay out of trouble, and when they get in trouble, what to do to fix it. And I do that by giving live examples and techniques and different tools to repair whatever it is they need to. Something like that. All right. That was less than 15 seconds. And that you want to, and I just did that off the top of my head. That is not rehearsed at all. So recreate yours. All right. You can also, your pitch could include your mission, your values. Hey, how about creating your taglines? For example, one of my taglines is creating successful authors with practical book creation and publishing guidance. That's what I do as the book shepherd. So what do? Write it down so you have that. And that will help you bring it together. It helps you bring it that concise, be succinct, and very to the point, which is what authors want. It's what they need to have to make sure they come across as the true expert in the arena. So we have that. All right, now, next what you're going to do is understand what it's about. Let me give you some examples. So when you think about the pitching, it's a branding. Your commercials, and one of the things I'm going to tell you, start paying attention to TV and watch the commercials. Notice how much shorter they're becoming. They used to run for a whole minute, then they went 45 seconds, and then they're 30 seconds. You are seeing a boatload of commercials that are 15 seconds or less. So every word counts. Every word counts. And so if I would say Nike, their tagline is just do it. And if you saw that swoosh that they use, that by branding, that's them. And you have that in play. All right. So if you think about your 30-second pitch, which I want is, again, you get down to 15, as a commercial. It's a commercial for you, and it's a commercial for your book. And here's one other caveat I need to add in here. It's important to understand that your pitch will vary with the audience. It'll vary with the media, and it'll vary with maybe there is some news event going on. And if there's any way that you can, if there's some breaking news event, that, for example, this week, horrendous problems that are circling around terrorism, and this happened with Brussels, all right, in Brussels. And with that, you're saying, but I'm not a terrorism expert. But what if you were a relationship expert? What if you did with families? What if you did expertise had something to do with conflict? You could newsjack what's breaking news dealing with an international situation. You could newsjack, coattail onto that, and talk about, if you're a relationships expert, what this does, when families are split up, when you have tragedy, something that comes in that's so out of left field and unexpected. And so you can get into that. You've got conflicts and communications and a variety of things. How do you deal with that? So can you tap into your expertise? One of the things that you need to keep in mind here is that if you build it, building is your book, will they come? Do you plan to become an instant media magnet with your message? And this is where this newsjacking capability will come in and can play with what you have, and it'll make a huge difference in what you do. So that's one of the things that'll bring it about and really put you as a star. It'll put you as a most coveted guest that they bring back over and over again. And I can tell you there was a time that, and I'll give you an example of one of my books that just became, if we had the internet during that time, it would have been huge, that I became a regular on one of the national TV shows for a month during a breaking news, because my expertise, which I happened to write a book on, was allowing me to coattail with that. And that's what you want. So to maximize it, which is what I did, what do you have to offer? You need to know what people want, and then you're going to paint this picture with that passion. So when I tell you what I did to hook on to a news event, when we come back from our break, I was able to, it was gossip. Oh my gosh, was it gossip? And we could bring it together and we could pull it, and I could just take advantage of all of it. And that's where you do, and you become really a very quick media star in the process. All right, this is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We're talking about pitching, connecting, promoting, publicity, branding, adding into your expertise. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Give your book the best shot at getting buzz before it's even released. JKS Communications has been leading the book publicity industry for more than a decade. From producing some of the earliest book trailers to recently creating what Shelf Awareness calls the world's longest book tour, our team of publicists work tirelessly, smart, and with the goal of getting you the best attention possible. Our family of publicists come from journalism and publishing backgrounds with great experience and a passion for books. And our family of authors all across the globe are supportive of one another. We read your book and talk to you to understand your goals and lifestyle before sending you a proposal. We only represent books and authors that we believe in. Let's get going. Go online at jkscommunications.com.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Maximizing your message. All right, again, reminder, what do you offer? That's your expertise. And whether it's directly tied in with your book, and that's what it's what you're pitching for, or you're newsjacking, what do you offer? Always remember emotion and tying into the emotions. It makes a huge difference. And people are voyeurs, let's face it. People, that's where gossiping comes from. They're dropping in. It's why people get glued to the TV during different times of that what is it they want? Well, they often want these side stories, but they want side stories that if you can be the person that, I was there, I've been there, I've done the studies, I've done the research, fill in the blank, then all of a sudden you then become kind of a go-to person. And when you can flavor it with the stories and the realism, and I know with, I'm for my own work, I'm a nonfiction writer, that I always did interviews and I had real life stories that people could say, oh my God, she's talking about me, or oh, this sounds like Uncle Charlie, or something like that. So there is a connection, and this is very important for you to understand. So what I did is I hinted, and I've mentioned it before over the last few years, of one of my breaking books. And this was a book that was based on my dissertation. My dissertation was on ethics. Do women undermine other women? And I'll just say yes, the answer was yes. And that it was based on a national study, and it evolved from a personal situation where I went through an embezzlement, and my female partner waylaid what came to almost $1 million from a construction loan that I had personally guaranteed for a project that we were jointly developing together. And with that, what she did is she took monies out of this construction loan that, as I said, that I guaranteed. And it was I wasn't notified what was going on by the bank until post it all went to hell, to put it bluntly. So out of that, I had to step in and learn how to finish and run this small hotel, which had been created after they all walked away, filed bankruptcy, and I was left holding the bag, clueless, totally clueless about how to run a hotel. So I went back to school, and I ended up putting the hotel into bankruptcy. I was known as the debtor in possession with the courts, and turned it around and eventually sold it and paid all the creditors off 100 cents on the dollar. While I was going to school, I decided to focus, because I had to have a dissertation, on this topic, because I felt just a tremendous sense of betrayal from my friend and my former partner. Like, how could she do this to me? And haven't you all gone through a situation where someone you've been close to has done something horrendous, and you wonder, how in the hell did you get into this situation? And what do you do now that you're in it? So my dissertation focused on ethics and do women undermine other women. And I went about and did a national study on it. And then I did unbelievable number of interviews to support it. Out of that came a book called Woman to Woman, From Sabotage to Support. And that was a book that I thought surely would be picked up by my New York publishers. Rejection. It turned out they were actually scared of it, and I believe that it was because I was holding up a mirror, and looking back over the years, holding up a mirror, and because basically publishing was female dominated, and a lot of the behavior that I was writing and talking about was going on in publishing, although I didn't realize it at the time. So I did it as a general. I finally went with a very small press. Because I didn't know how to publish it myself. I was clueless. And of course, anyone who published for themselves, you're at the back of the bus. You had no value. So for heaven's sakes, you'd never do that. And what I did was go ahead and went with a small press. And the book came out, and it was called Woman to Woman. Now, my own evolution, and each time I had my evolution, and this is why you change. I mean, I started with finance. My background is finance. I have a master's in business and a doctorate in business administration now. But my master's was in finance. I then evolved to, do women undermine other women? And from that, it evolved to specifically women who worked in healthcare, and that evolved to primarily nursing. So, that's where I stayed in the more traditional association corporate. Then I've always worked with people with publishing, and I decided I just didn't want to travel the way I used to. And on the road, 12, 13 states a month, that I really focused on, because I loved showing people how to publish and evolve out of that. And I just took my expertise as an author. 18 books have been with New York, and 17 now with my own publishing company, and just became the author publishing expert. And that was my whole thing now, is I want to create authors who want to be seriously successful. And I do that with the books and giving practical publishing guidance. So I kept narrowing, I evolved, and this is what you're going to be doing as an author too. You will evolve. There will be other books. So if I look at my niche, which was women undermining women, here's what I used to say. Women are everywhere, and they undermine others, and they do it differently than men do, and they will need, and they need my book to find out what to do. It's just awful. And corporations need to bring me in to talk, to do presentations, to do workshops, to show women what their behavior causes that deals with productivity. Can you get where I'm going? It's like I'm all over the place. It's blah, 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 blah. It's way too much, and it's way too broad. That, you have to ask, how do you find every woman? How do you reach every woman? And frankly, does every woman care? And the answer is, you can't, and no, they don't. So to help refine that, you've got to come into, with whatever your expertise, whatever your book's about, you've got to be, one, really clear about your audience and direction, who exactly it is. The more you niche it, the bigger it becomes. Trust me on this. Number two, you've got to be able to, your words have got to set you apart from others. If you're doing national studies, you let them know. You're doing a national, you did a national and international, whatever the study was, that included X amount of people. And you found that there was a significant difference in an ID what that is. You'll find that as you hone in on this, your pitch, it will literally increase your confidence, which is always a good thing, especially when you're working with the media. And the other thing is that it keeps your path really clear for any other books or products that might involve, which also is a very good thing. So when you get clear, and you are clear about your market, you're going to find that you will involve, and here's the other big secret, you can't be a fit for everyone. It's so important. So the goal, really, the goal of your pitch is to say these three words: tell me more. That's it. Tell me more. That's your hook. So in the clear as it, I evolved to this kind of scenario. Contrary to popular opinion, women discriminate, men don't. That's all I said. So we're looking at literally 8 words. Contrary to popular opinion, women discriminate, men don't. There wasn't a producer, a reporter, who didn't say, what do you mean? Tell me more. Then I would say, women target their own gender. Men don't. They'll shaft anyone. All right? I'm still less than 10 words. Women will target their own gender. Men don't. They'll shaft anyone. Tell me more. Now I have permission to talk more. If a woman is a saboteur, their style is covert, behind the scenes. Men are direct, blatant, even telling you the time and day they will shaft you. Tell me more. And then blah, 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 blah. So that's how I evolved into really getting this down and understanding how to work with reporters and medias. And yes, book buyers, people who were interested in that to it. So that pitch would come together, and your pitch, goes in, it becomes just part of your DNA. You're going to have it with your media hooks, with your signatures. You're going to put part of that on bookmarks, any flyers, any press releases, even your business cards. It becomes embedded in like a tagline, so to speak. Make sure it's on your web pages and the like. And look, it's not something that's going to happen instantly Well, rarely is it kind of instantly. It's going to take a time. And nothing really great happens overnight. It will evolve with that. So what it did and where I went, and then I, it started a 20-year part of my career, just learning how to do that. Bill Clinton had his female problems, and there was this woman by the name of Monica Lewinsky, you all recall, but there was also another bad apple in the mix, and that was called Linda Tripp. My expertise allowed me to come in and hook in everything evolving around Linda Tripp and taking it from there. And when we could do that, it made me the go-to person. I was on any show that was out there. You can imagine I was on. I was on everything from the Wall Street Journal, featured in the Wall Street Journal, to Time Magazine, to Newsweek, a 4-page spread on People Magazine, even the National Enquirer. So when I come back, I'm going to tell you how what evolved from that, because that's where it is, and this is where you can make a full-time living with your words and your mouth and learning how to pitch. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so we have the Bill Clinton, we have the Linda Tripp, we have Monica Lewinsky in here. We have the triangle. Maybe we need to say the square or the rectagon, because we did have Hillary Clinton out here too. But you've got this woman, Linda Tripp, who befriended Monica Lewinsky to tell her more about her shenanigans and what was going on. And then, of course, it became history because we all got sucked into it. We all became voyeurs, eavesdroppers in this situation that was going on. And as soon as I saw it, this was the newsjack. I did the newsjacking. I contacted producers at CNN, on the Today Show, on Good Morning America, on Oprah, on Geraldo, on Sally, on Donahue, on people. I had no favorites. I just reached out to all of them, and I was a repeat guest across the board. As I said, 4 pages in People magazine. I even am proud to say I survived an interview with the National Enquirer. And with that, it was all on this topic that really branded me as the go-to expert. And it turned out that my book was the pioneering work on dealing with the power plays and behind the scenes and undermining and betrayal of women directed toward women. From that, I was able then, I created workshops, I did talks, and I thought that my niche was the corporate market. Well, they were afraid of me because that they viewed that what I was talking about would be construed as a type of sexual harassment, which fascinated me because it, when I think of this, it's a gender harassment issue. There is a difference between women to women than women to men or men to women. And as I said and alluded to earlier, men don't discriminate. They do undermine anyone. Women are more inclined to direct their energies toward another woman. And the other component of it is that they were less likely to confront when bad behavior happened. But what they would do is they would take it to their colleagues and grumble and complain about what old Bertha had done to them this time. And where men were more inclined to do one of two things. They would either confront it or they would say, the heck with it, this isn't worth my time. And that, and not being aware that this person has displayed this behavior, but the fact is we got to keep going and working or whatever it is. And women were less inclined to confront it, but they didn't let it go. They regurgitated it over and over and over again. So the healthcare community discovered my book and my work, and I ended up doing a tremendous amount of work because I had a financial expertise. I was able to crunch numbers very quickly and determine what lost productivity within a specific unit or a department could be, as well as when people quit because finally they said, I can't stand this anymore. I am out of here because management doesn't deliver, deal with it. And the toxicity is just too much. And I could crunch very quickly what the cost of the turnover replacement costs were, that I could say to a director or a manager, is this person really worth keeping? I mean, they've cost you over $600,000 in the last 6 months because of turnover related costs and lost productivity because other people have quit. Then I could get their attention. For 20 years, I traveled all over the United States working on this and building my expertise. So you can do it with the media, you can do it with publicity, you can do it is to build. And one of the things is that I truly believe that the way you sell buku books is by learning to speak. And it's been a while since I've done any programs on that. I'll come back to that. But learning how to speak on your book, your expertise, your topic, and then reaching out to groups that you can tie in with maybe their mission, maybe they're having hiccups within it, that you can come in as someone who can not only band-aid things, but actually give them some soluble solutions that they can move forward and heal and deal with it. That's where you start selling huge amounts of books. I mean, thousands of dollars at a time, instead of those of you who have done book signings know that a typical book signing, unless you drive a lot of people there, for people who just come around the bookstores, is 6 books. That is very difficult to make a living just selling 6 books. So I wanted to, here's something else I want to encourage all of you to do, that this coming Sunday, wherever you can get a copy of the New York Times, I want you to go buy it. And I want you to pay particular attention to the book review section and just read. I want you to read it. Certainly there's great articles in it, great reviews, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the snapshot blurbs reviews. Remember, a review, there's reviews, there's endorsements, and there's blurbs. A review could be many paragraphs. It could be several pages. An endorsement is going to be much shorter. It could be a paragraph, maybe 2. A blurb comes out of an endorsement or a review. It's like that one stellar liner. I had a good friend of mine who wrote a book that was reviewed. It was trashed in the Wall Street Journal. And it was a big column that they did beating her book up. But by golly, we found one line in that review we could lift and use as a blurb and put the Wall Street Journal on it. So don't be afraid to cherry pick. That's my recommendation here. Do not be afraid to cherry pick here. So when you go through the magazine, the book review magazine, that I want you to pay attention to how they describe it. And you're going to see, and another partial of your homework to help you learn how to do this, to get down to these, 15 words or less, because that's what they're using when they describe these things on them, is they get down to these just shorter, better in that. To describe it, it's done to entice. And you will see on there they have multiple list of their times. New York Times bestseller, children's, how-tos, cooking, technology, just all types of lists. Look at the one line they use to describe the book. So what I've done is, and I'm going to just share with you a few that I went and pulled out of them, and for fiction and nonfiction. So here's a book by Alex Berenson called The Wolves, and here's the description. After narrowing stopping a plot to send the U.S. from Iran to war, former CIA agent John Wells goes after the person responsible. Wells is on his, and the wolves are closing in. We Are Water by Wally Lamb, fiction, a disquieting novel about a marriage, a family, and human resilience in the face of tragedy. And then here was a hugely popular book last year, a movie. Matt Damon was nominated for Best Actor in Oscars. The Martian. Abandoned by his crew, an astronaut embarks on a dogged quest to stay alive. All right, does that get your attention? Does that say, wait a minute, tell me more? That's what you're looking for in these kind of things. All right, a few others. Here's a book not popular in fiction. All right, and it's called Dark Money. Dark Money, and the author is Coke. All right. Whoops. No. Jane Mayer. All right. Now, here's the description. An account of how the Koch brothers and other super wealthy donors deployed their money to change American politics. All right. So if you're into politics at all, if you're following the scene, if you probably have heard of the Koch brothers, who support just Republican-based causes, and there's two of them, extraordinarily wealthy. An account of how the Koch brothers and other super wealthy donors deployed their money to change American politics. So they're just doing the Koch, but you're going to see other names in here. All right, then you have another nonfiction. Here's a beautiful book that I read called All the Light We Cannot See. The Lies of a Blind French Girl and a Gadget-Obsessed German Boy Before and During World War II. So we're looking here, less than 15 words. All right, then you have the Existentialist Cafe. Days in the Lives of Influential Philosophers revealed, delivering a fresh, invigorating look into the complex minds and a unique time and place. And we're going back, this time and place is back into the Depression era. Right now, can you do this with children's? Absolutely. There's a great little book called The Day the Crayons Quit. And I'm going to give you a description in 7 words. Colorful problems arise when Duncan's crayons revolt. Right, if you've got kids, they all know crayons. And I mean, and when I first showed this to my grandkids, they giggled. They thought this was really cool. All right, and young and YA fiction. There's a book called The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. A girl with special powers lives in a kingdom divided between an underclass with red blood and an elite with silver. All right, so you've got intrigue, you've got the negative calorie diet, a plan for a loss of up to 10 pounds in 10 days with 10 all-you-can-eat unprocessed foods. So literally, there is something for everybody. And that's the key. That's how you make it successful. So we're going to take our final break here, but there's just a couple elements. I'm going to go over some bullets of what you need to do to really make your tagline catchy, catchy, catchy. And when you can make it catchy, 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 you're going to hook them. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. We're talking about pitching, why you need to do it. The sooner, the better. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems, you want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher, or by a publishing service provider, or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right. You're working on your pitch. You're going to practice with someone, and strangers as well as friends that will get it, that will be open with their opinion, give you your advice. You want to do it a few times with a few different people, and then just start writing it down and working on it. And that if you've got something that you can tie in with a jargon that's popular, that's widely recognized, certainly do that. If there is any commercial entity out there that is easily recognized, you know, that your expertise, your book is to blank as what is to blank, that you can bring that about. That you can think about a variety of things. You can make it rhymey. You can have fun that way. You want to create an emotional that will bring them in, that will draw them in. That you want to create a visual if you can, and that's where your words come all together. And I'm going to suggest that we did when I've had Mara Pearl on, we did a wonderful show back dealing with dialogue several months ago, that I would go into either on our show page and scroll down to look at the show, and anything that has with fiction and dialogue or character definition, you want to listen to that, because when the fiction writers in particular really do have to use the words that create the visual. They can't get into tell me. You want to create the words that bring me in so I get my imagination going and open it up. But that creates that visual. And remember, when you do that kind of visual, think about using the 5 senses. You know, that it's not just seeing. When I say visual, that sometimes that visual, you have to create what's touch involved, or can you get me to taste? Can I get salivate over something? Can I smell something on it when you create that visual? How about hearing? So it's a loud sound, a noise, distraction. When you can use those kind of words that will bring it in play, you expand that hooking capability. Right? You might want to use alliteration of words that maybe there is something that, 3 words that very quick start with S or C or D or M or, whatever, that brings that into play. And again, as I said, it can be rhyming. You definitely want to have it succinct. Don't be afraid to have fun. Always good fun. Harry Potter, I was reading that Harry Potter, Rowling has a new book. I pre-ordered it. We've got them all coming out in July of 2016. And if I was to think to describing Harry Potter, well, Harry Potter became a gateway drug to hard literature for young people. And young people can evolve a whole bunch of ages here. I mean, into adulthood that read the Harry Potter books. But it really was a game changer with what Rowling did and opening up the imagination in Q. And she had fun with it. And don't be afraid of using something familiar in this process. When you can do that, create that catchy, whether it's through alliteration, whether it's through rhyming, whether it's through creating the visuals, certainly being succinct, having a little fun, doing the familiar, you will have that hook line come into play, and you will discover that you will sell more books. You will get more attention. If you're trying to create speaking engagements, presentations, workshops that involve your book, maybe you make a requirement that everyone has to have a book, which I have no problem with you doing. It will literally make it a huge success in that process. So the things that I want you to think about with your to-dos is that you've got to, as you're doing this, you've got to identify exactly who your reader is if you're pitching it to an audience of book buyers. If you're pitching it to the media, that it's imperative that you understand who their demographics are and ages, concerns, fears. One of the things I will add into that, if there is an incident, and this is why it's so important, most of you have some type of a smartphone, make sure that you have the USA Today app on your phone, because you can go in very quickly. They do breaking news on USA Today, but also you can tie into what's going on in a state. Breaking news, you should also, if you're going on a radio show, television show, whether you're flying in or they're patching it in, tied in with a local station, that you have done a very quick search, Google search or Bing search or whoever you use as your engine, to see if there is any breaking news in that state as well as city that the show is based out of. Because if there is, you could easily become the go-to expert to get back to them. I've had that happen several times where I was to be on an air on a certain topic, a certain book, because the breaking title of breaking news, I could tie it into something else that I was involved in or had expertise in, and become a resource for them. And that learn to do that kind of thing. So download the app. Now, you want to be able to identify exactly what the value, the benefit you bring to the buyer of your book, the listener, the viewer, the reader of whatever a topic is that you're featured on. Create a tagline. You want to create a tagline for you that evolves around your expertise, and you want to create a tagline around your book. Now, if you stumble along, because this does take work, I'm telling you, it does take work, that you might have some fun and check out the website Slogan Slingers and see if you can, sloganslingers.com, and to see if you can come up with something by going in and coming back with that would pull it together for you. You want to practice that 30-second pitch, and you want to get it down, gulp, 15 seconds, and better yet, if you can get it down to 10 seconds, that will evoke the tell me more from them. Then, and sometimes, they'll tell me more. They may actually say, tell me more about this. But they could also do that with their facial expression. You can see a raised eyebrows. So they're when you got to be kidding or what, that will bring that apart. And then lastly, it's really important to think of your pitch as part of your brand, because this is where it comes into play. And it is part of your brand, it's part of your expertise. And that's where you want to bring it up and get it on your website pronto. And the sooner you do this, the more complete that you're going to be, and viewed as, again, as I said, the resource, the go-to expert. And that's what it's all about. That's what makes it really exciting, at least for me. All right, so pitching, bring it together. Do it now. Do not wait. Do not procrastinate. This is Judith Briles, and I'm your book shepherd. I do hope you come to Denver and join me for Judith Briles Book Publishing Unplugged. And you can pre-order my new book. It's up on Amazon now. It is How to Avoid 101 Book Publishing Blunders, Bloopers, and Boo-Boos. We'll be with you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week, a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take you, the author, to the next level. You'll learn tips and secrets on how to create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve book publishing success by making one very simple change in your book's journey. How to avoid the publishing predators. How to create an author and book platform that rocks. Learn how to make a living with your words and your books. Learn how to publish a book that has no regrets, and so much more. For more information, check out AuthorU-Your, where authors who want to be seriously successful go. And Judith's website, thebookshepherd.com. Then join us again here next week for more. It's Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Rockstar Radio Network.